We're back again with Step 2. Scan the short text section of your case and find the required. The required answers the question, what do they want me to do? And by they, I mean the client. What you're looking to do is fill in this section of your case plan. The required is often at the end of the short text section. Often, but not always. It's usually in a paragraph that starts with trigger words such as you, the accountant, or you, the internal auditor, or you, the CPA. Or it could also start with, it is now January 14th, or it is now February 2nd. If the short text is 1.5 to 1 page long, then start scanning for the required at the top. Don't start analyzing. Remember, you are only looking for the required. If the text is 2 to 3 pages long, then go to the end and work backwards. Again, scanning is key. Look for those trigger words I just gave you. Don't read in detail yet because you're only looking for the requireds. Why do you need the requireds up front before you even read the case in detail? Because without knowing what they want you to do, you can't pick out the important facts when you read the case. Without the required, you can't move forward with the case plan. What might a required look like? Well, here's a few examples that you might see in a case. The client says to you, can you describe the policy choices I have when applying ASPE to my transactions? In that case, your required would be identify and discuss ASPE accounting treatments. What if you read in the case, the CFO asks you to provide a quantitative and qualitative analysis of these 3 financing options? Your required would then be analyze financing options from a quantitative and qualitative perspective and advise. What if you read, please prepare a memo that includes an analysis of any financial reporting issues resulting from this change? Your required would then be analyze the financial reporting issues arising from the changes. What if Jill says, I wonder if the accounting policies I have used to record transactions are compliant with ASPE? In that case, your required would be analyze accounting policies for compliance with ASPE. You might read in the case, Ahmed would like you to discuss accounting issues with regards to this year's financial statements and any adjustments required. Your required would then be accounting issues with regards to this year's financial statements and adjustments required. You might read, Callistus is concerned about whether or not the company will meet their bank covenants. Your required is then analyze whether bank covenants are being met. Note that words such as concerned, or wonders, or is afraid indicate that the client considers this particular required critical. That's important for you to remember when you rank the requireds to determine which ones you should address first in your analysis. You can see that in each of the examples I just gave, the client is asking you to do something specific. By knowing the required before you read the case in detail, you have the opportunity to search for issues that pertain to that required when you read the details in Step 3. Note that we're scanning the text in order to find the requireds. You may actually find more requireds as you read the case in detail or as you go through the exhibits. If that's true, then simply add those new requirements to your plan as additional required when you find them. Note that it may be true that requireds from exhibits are not as critical as those found in the short text, but never ignore a required that you find. Add the requireds you find to your plan. Remember to add each required on a new page and leave space underneath for the issues that relate to that required. It's always better to leave too much space rather than too little. Now that you know the required, we'll continue with Step 3 in the next video.